Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4 and we are back here in our Chestnut Ridge. So I said a couple of weeks ago when we did the small little horse ranch that I wanted to do a bigger one, and yet here we are. So this is actually on the 50 by 50 lot in the Galloping Gulch neighbourhood, which is like right at the very top, kind of in amongst all of the sort of the rocks, and it's all very deserty and sandy up there. So we've actually done 2 out of the 3 neighbourhood lots in this neighbourhood. I'm not sure if we're going to do the other one. Maybe, possibly, perhaps. Let me know what you think. If you want me to, let me know. But we turn this into a really nice kind of log cabin, kind of lots of wood, lots of dark wood, lots of kind of really nice, a lot of horse ranch naturally, obviously with this sort of build. But yeah, it's also kind of a really nice family home in here. So we actually turn this into a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with then a 3-block stable out the back as well, and then we kind of have like paddocks, and we also have the barrels for them to kind of play around with as well. So you can already see the sort of shape of the main house has come along. We are using a little bit of terrain manipulation. This build, it feels very flat, and I don't know why. I feel like with big lots, I'm really intimidated by them most of the time because they're so big, they're so open, and it's weird. So the pirate ship that I did not too long ago, that was on the same sort of size lot, and for that one I didn't feel like the size of the lot because it was mostly water, so there wasn't really much land really to kind of build with. Whereas this one, I fear that it was kind of too flat, it was too open, and yeah, I think I kind of wanted to change it up a little bit as soon as I could. So we have managed to change around some of the kind of terrain manipulation and move it so it's on a slight little hill, and it just also gives a really nice perspective to kind of the stables being slightly higher up than the main house as well. Although they are smaller, it just sort of looks a lot better and more in keeping with what I really wanted for this whole kind of build. And there's the family. So we have 3 horses, 1 dog, and then 2 parents and 2 children, 1 little boy and 1 little girl, and we've decorated the rooms out for them as sort of we would normally do in here, but obviously you can change that to however you want it to be. That's fine in there. And as you can see with the house, it is coming together really nicely. So I wanted a nice bit of wraparound porch. A lot of the images that I was kind of looking for of like American kind of ranches, American sort of big farmhouses, those sorts of things, they all tend to have this really nice sort of big wraparound porch, and I thought it worked in really well for what I wanted in here. And you can sort of see at certain places that the terrain, it's flush at the back of the house where you have foundation at the front, and I just thought a nice gradual little incline in there. The horses don't mind it, and you can access all of the lot as well. So that's really what I wanted. I do actually change this roof out. I kind of went for this one because it felt more realistic, but then when I was going through for the horse stables, I think it was, I actually found the one from Horse Ranch, and I thought, well, why not just use that one? It works in there really well. But now I come to the windows. So with this build, I really wanted to use just Horse Ranch, and then I realised that that wasn't really going to be that realistic. I mean, I could do a like limited pack, kind of just 1 pack for this, but I thought it would be a little bit too limiting, so I decided to change it up. And there's 3 main packs that we use in here: horse ranch, obviously, cats and dogs, and cottage living, and then obviously a whole host of like mini packs of stuff packs, game packs, kits, all of that just for sort of decoration and bits and pieces, but for the main sort of bulk, they are the 3 kind of packs that we really go for in here as well. So I now kind of am leaving the house, as it were, because we're going to work on the sort of terrain and sort of what I really wanted this to all kind of look like. So we're doing this really nice sort of pathway, kind of gravel path that comes through all of the property. I wasn't really sure at first how I really wanted this to all kind of go, and you can sort of see here I'm just kind of playing around with it, and I'm just kind of making it all up without any kind of real substance to it, I've got to be honest. But now we're building on to the stables. So this is the area where I left them at the back here. So these are the 3 horse stables that we are building, and then we have a bigger area which is kind of like the food, like the saddles, the other bits and pieces that actually go with it, and then realised that they're too small, as you do. And this is pretty dark, I apologise for that in here, but yeah, I think these come along really quickly, and this whole sort of area I kind of just block build all of this, so kind of forgetting that we haven't furnished the rest of the house, I focus a little bit more on here as well, and copying a lot of the same sort of things, so it's really in keeping with what I wanted in here as well. And then what we're going to do is have like their kind of beds kind of on the inside areas, and then each of them has their own little area out the front that they can access, and they do actually walk out of here, so they can access all of that as well. And yeah, that's where their food and things like that is for them in here with these little stable doors. I didn't necessarily think these would work, but they do, so I'm rather happy with that in there. It's one of those things of does it not, should it, why doesn't it, but in fact they do all work in here. And yeah, just sort of playing around, getting a few other bits and pieces with detail work coming in as well, because I wanted a nice sort of sunshade over the top of them here, because I felt like this kind of area, it feels very Southern America to me. So I was thinking it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, maybe the horses want a little bit of shade, and then I've put the water down there as well, so that it's kind of hidden a little bit more, rather than it being so open to the elements a little bit more than normal. And now we are kind of just going to be pulling out some debug items that are kind of going in around the horses on this side over here. So lots of bits and pieces that we just randomly pull out for, you know, like when there's that one item that you really want. Yeah, this is the hunt for that item. I can tell you, I found it now. It's actually a debug item from base game. Why? I don't know. But yes, we now do have huge barrels of hay. We've always had them. But yeah, we've also got in there some straw seats as well. So you can kind of come in here, sit down. I felt like maybe if you want to escape for a little while, or if you've been busy doing like your horsey chores, you just want to take a little break for a minute, you've got plenty of little sort of seats down here to kind of sit on as well. And there's also a little sink in there to kind of clean your hands if you're scooping muck and doing all of those sorts of things. Then just a nice little bit of hygiene coming through in here. I did think about putting a fire pit in here as well, but I thought that might be a little bit too much with the hay, so decided that's not the option I really wanted to go for in here. But getting in some lighting, as I say, trying to use as much of sort of horse ranch as I possibly can in here. And we do end up getting another column with some more lights, because this area here did feel really dark, and I feel like it's an area where they would be shut in at night, so they wouldn't really have too much kind of lighting to go in there at night time. So I felt like it was okay. Obviously you can even add another little lighting in here as well. And now we're just going through with some sort of grasses for them all in here too, and then just more items randomly pulling out before we work on the sort of big paddock area on this sort of side. I wanted this to feel very kind of open, very kind of natural, kind of working, like not a square paddock kind of area. So yeah, I've just kind of changed some of the angles up and bits and pieces like that as well. And then with this one along the back here, we're just sort of having this for kind of like an exercise yard kind of area for the sort of big barrels in here as well. And then changing this all up because it's not quite big enough in there for what I wanted, because we need this big sort of gate to come through into there. Now, because the terrain is at an angle or a slight slope in here, it did make placing some of these a little bit more difficult, but I managed to kind of smoosh some bits together, and you can sort of see here this sort of shelter I kind of put in. I don't actually know if the horses can fit like size wise underneath here, but I thought again, if maybe it's raining, if it's kind of a bit windy or something, they can go under there for a nice little bit of shelter, and yeah, just kind of hide away from a little bit of it out there, as well as being maybe if it's too hot in the other extreme. Now, playing around with some of the sort of terrain paint and things like that in here, just to kind of make this area feel a little bit more kind of muddy, a little bit more kind of used, and a little bit more dirty. I did place some grasses down in the main paddock as well, and now you're going to sort of see a long stretch of this. I think I've cut this down actually. I went through and placed, yeah, I did a lot of this, all of these sort of stones on here, and then I've had to kind of manipulate them using tool. So some of them have had to go into the ground, some have had to come out, some have had to change angles. Anyway, I've kind of covered all of the paths all the way around here as well, and now we're just getting in some debug planting. I kind of wanted this to be really in keeping with the planting that we have around the place. So you might notice in a few places there's lots of sort of rocks and sort of outcrops with some low-lying plants and wildflowers and things like that, and some grasses. So they're kind of the main plants that I really pull through when we're doing all of this sort of landscaping here. I wanted it to be very subtle and not feel like there's an edge to the lot. I wanted it to kind of flow through, and I hope I've achieved that. One thing I did actually realise is the edge rocks that I've placed around the paths are completely different colours to any of the other rocks that we have in this sort of neighbourhood, and they don't come in any other swatches, because this is really like a sandy kind of deserty area. We then don't have the matching rocks. I'm just saying it would have been a lot better if they were a nice sort of orangey kind of browny tan kind of colour, but hey, it is what it is in there. So using some low-level rocks and planting just to try and keep this in keeping with the sort of neighbourhood and the world of Chestnut Ridge that we're working in here, and just making it feel like it fits in the world. I feel like some builds, especially some that I do, are kind of completely random and don't tie in to kind of the neighbourhood or the world whatsoever. So just trying with this one a little bit more to kind of make it feel like it works here. If this is designed for this lot here, it's not supposed to be in, I don't know, Bindleton Bay or anywhere else. So yeah, trying to just sort of make that look and feel like it belongs here, where it was really designed to go into there. But we are just about to move on into sort of decorating the actual house out. So we have got this sort of front porch area at the front. Well, it's a wraparound porch, but at the front here you've kind of got this little open kind of area, and I thought a nice sort of seating area, maybe if they've got guests over, or kind of just as a nice sort of shaded kind of chill area. Like, you know, sometimes it's too hot to be inside, but you don't really want to be out in the sun. I kind of feel this nice little area here would be the perfect place to kind of just come and relax and chill, maybe with a good book, maybe having a nice glass of lemonade or something like that in here as well. And yeah, as you can see, we're now using more packs and more kind of ideas and things coming through in here. These sofas actually work out here really well. I think I end up changing one of them over, but they're for rent, which I wasn't really planning on using for this build, but you know what, it actually works. These sofas work perfectly well in here, and yeah, they fit really, really nicely. And then we do place out a few little bits of straw, like, you know, you've brought some hay back with you on your shoe or something like that. It is quite a lot, I've got to be honest, but it's as small as I can really get it to be in here. And then just put out a few other bits and pieces, little umbrella stand. I feel like maybe for the sun more than the rain in here, but some pots and some shoes as well. Maybe they're dirty from being out on with the horses and stuff like that. And a nice sort of front entrance kind of area in here as well, and then get another little rocking chair. I feel like there's lots of places to kind of come and sit and just sort of relax in this build, which is really what I wanted. But now we're moving on into the interior in here, where we are now working with the kitchen. And yeah, again, kind of following in with the same sort of style that I really wanted from the rest of it. We have this kind of semi-open planned kind of area. It's kind of like a nice big wraparound with the stairs coming up the middle, and I think it actually really works. We did play around a little bit with the platforms as well, which made it a little bit interesting, I've got to be honest, in here. So we have got all of that coming through with the stairs being on different platforms, and yeah, I actually really liked how this all worked in here. And as you can see, I have pulled out all of the items that are going to be used in this kitchen. It takes me forever for some reason to kind of scroll through and to find everything, so usually I would just cut all of that out. I mean, sometimes it can take like 15-20 minutes to find that one item that you're looking for, so yeah, it takes a while, but we cut that all out for you in here, and then we just sort of place them where we want them, except for the few items that I totally forget. Anyway, for some reason it's clipping onto the stairs, even stuff that is way too big, so in the end I have to actually move them with tool to get them to work. But anyway, we've kind of got those bits and pieces in here, and do you know what? This still works with the kitchen clutter kit. Ugh. Kitchen clutter kit. Right, we got there in here, because most of the kitchen is from that pack, and it actually really works. I did feel at the beginning when I saw that pack that it was going to be just for kind of like suburban homes, very kind of normal sort of family households, but actually in here using different swatches, and it actually really works, and I'm happy with it actually in here. And you can probably tell it's going into like every single build. If I can get away with it, it's definitely going in here. So we do have the pet watering bowls down here as well. I've placed one that's slightly smaller. I've just scaled it down. I figured that would be for like the water, or maybe the food, and the water's sort of the bigger one. They have got the family that I have built for in here is a giant, I think it's an Australian Shepherd, I think, by the wonderful pug owned. It's not my pet. I have not created it. In there, I do not have the time nor the patience to do anything like that. So shout out to them for their amazing pets on the gallery in there as well. And yeah, you can probably tell the horses are off the gallery as well. And then I just created the actual family that goes along with them. I do not have the time nor the patience or the skill to go into Create Sim and create the animals for that. But now we've moved over on to the kind of dining area kind of up here. So we've got an upper platform level, and yeah, I think it just creates this really nice kind of multi-level kind of home in here. And I thought a nice big kind of dining area in here, a really nice open sort of space, would really work for having those big kind of family dinners in here. And then the fireplace actually ends up going in a really weird spot, and I don't really know why. I've tied it into the chimney and the bedroom upstairs, so this is kind of where that is, and where it kind of ends up being in here. It kind of is all in keeping with where the chimney is on the roof in here. But now we're kind of having the kind of TV room, kind of living space in here. I didn't really know whether I wanted another kind of full-on seating kind of area, but I thought at the end of the day, they've got kids, maybe this is somewhere for them to come, or just like family time where they can all sit down together, maybe watch that kind of film or something all together, whereas the outside kind of area is a little bit more kind of for the grown-ups, or sort of a little bit more sort of entertaining space, where this is kind of family space as it were in here as well. And again, using a lot of horse ranch, and yeah, I think this all comes really well together, and I'm liking the dark wood kind of mixed in with some of the lighter sort of furniture that we're getting in here as well. But I should really tell you about the family that I have in mind for this in here. So you've just seen them out on the front here. We have the 3 horses. They don't really have too much of a personality, even in game, and obviously the dog. But what I thought is that the mum wants to be like a champion kind of barrel rider. So they've kind of moved to the country and bought this kind of family farm, maybe when the kids were like really young, like toddler young, and kind of wanted to change a pace of life, completely kind of different to what they normally had maybe in the city or something. And they're full on embracing kind of the country living kind of vibe that we're going for in here. And so yeah, they've bought this big sort of horse farm out here, and kind of really want to develop it and maybe breed or win with some of their horses at sort of different competitions and things like that. And I feel like Dad is kind of somebody who is very much into sort of her having her dream. Maybe he works from home or something and can do his job wherever, or maybe he made loads of money and is now kind of like semi-retired or something, and yeah, is just enjoying the slower kind of pace of life in here as well. But we have the 2 children in here. So we have the little boy whose bedroom we are building at the moment. They are both children. I don't necessarily see them as twins. I kind of feel like he's older than what she is, but probably not by much. I feel like they're very sort of close in age, maybe like a year, 18 months, that sort of thing. At least in my head, that's kind of how I'm sort of playing this family. And yeah, in here we are using some of the I don't really tend to use it, I've got to be honest, with this sort of rug and then the little spaceship kind of playhouse in here. I don't normally tend to put these into boys' bedrooms, but I felt like this one with the yellow and the blue, which I'm loving, I have to be honest, I'm still loving that colour combination, and I feel like I'm doing it in every single build, so I apologise for that, but it really works in here with this sort of build as well. And then just pulling out lots of bits and pieces. We've got the little pillow on the end of the bed, just because, you know, why not have a little pillow that maybe you can just play around with. Maybe it's like a weighted kind of pillow, something like that for him as well. And I do come along afterwards and place lots of curtains, and I change out all of the lighting and things like that. Yes, I did forget. Until I was literally editing, well, not editing, but putting the photos into the slideshow for the end of this, when I realised I don't have curtains anywhere and the lighting's wrong. So yeah, I do go back and change that in the build that is available now on the gallery. Probably not in some of the screenshots because I'm an idiot and I can tell you that. But anyway, we are now working in the little girl's bedroom, which, as I say, I felt like she was the younger of the 2 children. It's very pink, it's very purple, it's very childish. Not necessarily one of the kids' bedrooms that I tend to do. I don't particularly like this kind of kiddie style. I don't really know why. It's just not something I tend to build for, but you know, it is what it is. And we get lots of posters out over here as well, and you can sort of see how this room kind of come together. It looks like something has thrown up lots of pink and lots of purple, but anyway, we'll go back into the parents' bedroom in a minute as well. And I don't do the bathroom on camera, something I do off camera, but it is at the top of the stairs here. They have to share the one sort of bathroom between all of them, but it does have a bath and a shower, so there's obviously space for washing the dog and everything else in there as well. And now into the kind of adult grown-up space at the top here, with this sort of a really nice big balcony. Now this is the only one that has these sort of big picture windows in the bedrooms. There is big windows downstairs in kind of like the kind of back hallway, I guess. It's kind of just like a walking area at the top, sort of the dining room, sort of leading into the kitchen where the stairs is. That has like a really big glass kind of wall across there as well, but still very much in keeping with kind of the log cabin kind of feel that I really wanted in here. And now we're going to scroll down. This room, it felt really weird, this bedroom. It felt too big but not big enough. Like, it's too big to be big but not big enough, if that makes any sense, to be big. So in the end, I placed out this little kind of screen in here, and also because I feel like it's very much open to kind of the windows and the view, and maybe you're having somebody coming along on a horse and you're wanting to change in your house and people can see in. So I've put this big sort of screen here and then allowed you to kind of get dressed behind it, just to give you the added level of privacy. And now we are going to scale down this huge horse sculpture. This actually is a live edit object, so it's somewhere in the world, but scaling it right the way down to 0.1 gets it to fit on this little table here in the sort of seating area of the bedroom. As I say, it felt really big and yet not big. And now onto this little back sort of side patio in here. I felt it's somewhere where they would come, maybe drink their morning cup of coffee or something before the day sort of starts. And I actually placed a little easel out here as well. But if you have enjoyed this build, then give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!